Paid your $5. Now let's get into Stick and Puck.
All right, so you guys paid your $5, and welcome to Stick and Puck. This is a little something we've been brewing up between On the Bench with Beaks and Between the Pipes podcast. As you all know, Keats from Between the Pipes podcast, and Bryce and Beaks from On the Bench with Beaks. So today, basically what we've got going on is just a little shoot around, a little Stick and Puck. We're just going to talk, chill out, have a little hockey conversation.
Throw sticks in the middle and pass them on either way.
Exactly. Maybe shell the goal, the tendy over here with a bunch of pucks. So
bring it.
Let's go. So one thing that I've really been wanting to chat about, and we never really got to touch on this on our podcast, is the difference between left and right handed catching goaltenders. So I want to open up the forum, and I want to start with the tendy here. The tendy we've got here is left-handed.
But I'm not left-handed.
Well, you're a left-handed catcher
in
though.
Hockey, yeah.
You're a right-handed catcher in hockey?
No.
Left-handed. Okay.
I'm left-handed in hockey, but I'd if I need to write something down, I'd use my right hand.
And well, do you shoot? I wonder what else you use your right hand for.
Taping a stick.
So I've as a shooter, I've always been really almost thrown off by right-handed catching goaltenders, just because obviously it's clear opposite, and I kind of want to open it up to the forum here. Let's touch on this a little bit.
Yeah, for me, I've heard, to compare sports a little bit, I've heard, NFL quarterbacks, if you're right-handed or left-handed, it's weird for the receiver to accept that ball weird, right? So I think, if you're a hockey player, going in, especially for me as a right-handed player, I think that it would definitely throw you off a little bit, seeing a right-handed goaltender, because you're always thinking of short side. But if that's not correct, it's going to be the left side's my short side now? It's a little weird.
Yeah, anytime I'm heading up the ice, I almost always expect the tendy to have the left-handed catching glove. So when you kind of look up and you see the catcher on the other side, you're almost kind of just mystified by the fact that it's absolutely opposite. Keats, I know you. I know you actually. You have a little bit of a bias against right-handed catcher tendies. You want to kind of spread that one out?
I know. It's not like I hate the guys or anything. It's nothing like that at all. It's just I imagine myself playing in that position, right? So I pretend that here I'm holding my stick in my left hand, right, and now I'm about to catch with the right, and it just it almost gives me goosebumps. Imagining it. But it's the same thing, if I were to, if I were to skate out as a player, I'd shoot on left, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's the same type of thing almost, I couldn't play. I couldn't have the blade on the right side.
You couldn't shoot right-handed.
No, it's the same thing. It just makes me extremely uncomfortable. As advantages or disadvantages, well, first things first. The right terms for this is regular and full right in the goalie world.
Oh, really?
So
I didn't even know that.
Did not know that.
And I don't. And again, I don't know where these terms came from, But anywhere, if you were to say go to Goalie Monkey or any of those websites, where you're looking for gear and stuff, and say you need a new catcher, blocker, that sort of thing, sticks, it will give you the option of a regular or a full right. So a full right would be anything obviously on the right side, and regular is just your goalies that catch left.
Well, yeah, that makes sense because there's so many more regular handed goalies than full right goalies. It's really kind of like finding a four-leaf clover in a patch of shamrocks.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
And again, I don't know if there is an advantage or disadvantage in it. One thing that you guys already mentioned a little bit ago here was, I think it's more so throwing off the player. Everyone's used to shooting majority of the times on a regular goalie, right? And not a full right goalie in a sense. So that might throw you off is just, skating towards that goal and just, I would assume you'd think is like, I'm going to go glove side.
Right.
And you look up and it's like, shit,
Oh, yeah.
Where you think the glove side would be, that's blocker. And it's like, I think like just it plays that mental game a little bit.
Yeah.
So that might be the advantage.
Yeah. I was actually going to bring that up too, because I mean, a lot of I think majority goaltenders are a little weaker on the blocker side rather than the glove side. I mean, you have to work so hard at like maintaining your glove hand, like, and keeping it really strong. So
with your stick too.
I think a lot of goaltenders kind of almost pale in comparison by going with their blocker side than they do their glove side. So I think that's where one advantage comes to regular full right-handed goaltenders, is that their catcher is on that side that normally shooters would try to go for. You know what I mean? Because honestly, if I'm gonna be if I'm gonna be honest, like if I have a chance, I'm gonna go blocker every time, because in my experience, the blocker's just a little bit weaker than the glove hand most times.
Yeah, totally. And for me, I think the advantage that we were talking about earlier for the goalie is, I think in real gameplay, it's like, if you're a player and you're realizing all of a sudden now you're skating up the ice past the blue line, oh crap, I was gonna do something, but now it's just totally throwing me off. Like having that right or left hand, or maybe even a shootout situation where I think, or even a goaltender gets hurt, you have a left-handed goaltender, but your backup is now right. I think that would totally throw off a game. So that's kind of, I think, what the advantages are for the goalie.
Yeah, and that's exactly it too. And I mean, what better way to throw off a team that's been playing against a left-handed a regular-handed goaltender than out of nowhere having to go with a full right tendy, like halfway through, especially if they change it up. And I think that would probably, if I was a general manager or a coach or something like that, I would prefer to have both-handed tendies on the bench. In a game situation.
So what you're saying is the Colorado Avalanche right now have such a crazy advantage.
Wink, wink.
Yeah,
I don't get me wrong. I'm sure regular-handed goaltendies. They have their own advantages as well. I mean, just having a solid goaltender is going to be great for you, anyways. But I mean, it's just full right goaltenders are such anomalies in the game. Like, I mean, obviously we're not calling that regular.
No, absolutely, yeah. And I don't know if any of you guys know, because I don't know the numbers. How many full rights are there in the NHL right now, minus our own Francois, whatever you call him these days? I mean, there's him, and there have to be a couple more, but I don't know the numbers
off the top of my head. I think David Riddick is a full right goaltender, and possibly Curtis McElhinney.
Yes, definitely far.
If my memory serves me correct, and I mean, let's be honest with you, I'm not known for my memory.
Yeah, and obviously it's going to be between far and few. I mean, so for all teams who are going to expect a left-handed goaltender, you say you play 10-15 games with left-handers. Now game 16 is a right-hander. That means, who knows? There definitely might be playing a different offense during that kind of game or that kind of stuff.
Do you think full rights have an advantage in, say you're a young buck, 17 years old, good goalie, right? And scouts are in the stands kind of like checking you out wherever you're playing at the time, possibly being in the following season's draft or whatever. Do they get say they're like, he's a good goalie, but do they get an extra point or a brownie point? It's like, and he's a full right. Do you think scouts look at that, or it's just like, he's just a good goalie and that's it? We need to get him on our team.
I think they do get a little extra special look. I mean, just because, you're full right. You don't see a lot of full right tendies that really make it that far. I think, in my mind, obviously, I'd give him a couple extra points for being a full right goaltender.
Totally. I think part of it, too, would be looking at the stats of, how many shots come from the right or from the left, or the top right or left circle. I think those kind of stats might maybe play into it. I'm not sure if they do or they don't, but that might give you an indicator of do I want a right-handed goalie, left-handed goalie, is it play to this direction or that direction? Maybe it might play a role in that, those kind of stats. But
yeah, no, it's.
I mean, it definitely has to depend on like on teams. How many you like that, especially for the analytic teams. To really look into that and see how many like how good a team is from attacking from the left or the right. So I think that'd be a really good job for the analytics teams in these like in the NHL and stuff. I like see there's one thing that always threw me off is Curtis Joseph. If you've ever noticed, Curtis Joseph is a regular goaltender. He catches left, but he would switch his stick so he could shoot right-handed. Do you guys ever see that?
No,
never saw. No, that's interesting.
He would literally flip his stick around, use the top hand with his glove to shoot. And that's what really freaked me out. I was like that, because, I mean, even when I was playing goaltender, just on the pavement and stuff. I mean, I never actually played goaltender like competitively or anything. But I mean, when you're playing knee hockey or playing out on the pavement and you guys don't get a goalie, it's like, well, you get the short straw, bud. You're gonna be the tender.
Yeah, well, no, of course, left and right, they're all crazy.
I caught regular, but I couldn't shoot. So, but then I remembered, how Curtis Joseph did it. He'd flip his stick around and shoot with his glove at the top. So
see, and one thing that I was thinking too is like I always thought to myself, okay, how does one get into the full right position when it comes to goaltending, right? So I'm thinking to myself, when I started out playing hockey, I played a little bit out before I became a goaltender. I always shot left. I shot left, and then when I became a goaltender, it just made sense. I'm gonna catch, I want my stick to be left, so when I catch left, if you guys know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
So I'm thinking is like, so maybe everyone starts out playing. No one goes straight to goaltending, right? We all know this.
Yeah, so the unlucky kid gets chosen, and then somehow you just, not unless like how many kids have really just wanted, like, no, I don't want to go score goals. I want to stop them.
So and that's what I'm thinking is like, so say like you were a little kid, started out playing and you were shooting right the whole time as a little player, PV, whatever might, and then goaltending kind of popped in your picture. Was it the same kind of transition like I had? Like, well, I've been shooting right the whole time, so it just makes sense that I want to also have I think a lot of it has to do with the stick.
Yeah.
Where you want your stick, and then that's what you catch with.
And,
does that make sense,
or
am I confusing it?
No. Yeah, no, it makes total sense. But and I think a lot of it really actually, I mean, especially for like American goaltenders, I think it also depends on if you had played a different sport in the past. Because I played baseball before I played hockey, and I always caught with my left hand, but I threw with my right. So obviously, yes, I'm going to catch with my left hand. So I kind of brought that into like my goaltending style, if you will, because I always caught with my left in baseball. So it was just automatic. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to put my catcher as a goaltender on my left.
And it brings up a question, how much does, hockey, it takes, a lot of different skills, but in terms of ambidexterity, is that something that you think, goalies should have to continuously work on? Or should all hockey players learn how to shoot right and shoot left, catch right? I think that kind of, is a conversation that the sport needs to have too. Like, do these NHL players walk in the league because they are part of it, they're ambidextrous?
I definitely think it's a big thing for goalies to be able to work on their ambidexterity. I mean, obviously, just because one of my points earlier is what, like, I like to go blocker because I didn't think they work on it as much as they worked on their glove hand. So I think it's a big thing for at least goalies to be ambidextrous.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Well, yeah, it's all in all, it's an interesting thing. Like it'd be cool to maybe hear some other people's opinions on it. And I think earlier when I was just like, it's hard. Like I keep mixing it up because I think I was saying I was shooting right when I was shooting.
No, yeah,
Did I explain it correctly?
Yeah, you're shooting left. Yeah,
you're right.
It confuses the shit out of it. Maybe that's why they call it regular and full right, so people don't confuse the shit out of it.
Well, I mean, I've already been having trouble with it, so like, yeah.
It's like, it's like a tongue twister almost in a sense,
Directionally challenged.
It's so funny. My daddy's just gave me a lot of shit because he grew up right-handed but shoots left. And for me as a skateboarder, I would always kick my right foot, and then I'd switch it up so my left foot would be at the top of the board. Or hockey.
That's called...
My bottom is goofy, right?
Yeah, you're pushing Mongo right there.
Yeah, then my bottom hand is my strong hand, so my top hand is... I just want to be able to steer the puck, but I get more leverage, I think, shooting with my right hand, deflecting the stick. My strong hand. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, it's kind of off topic, but, Keith did mention, how lucky the Avs are to have two different goaltenders that are right and left or regular, right? Well, let's talk some Avs in terms of how we think about this, Western Conference, and maybe change subjects. How do you guys feel about that?
It's just so like where I'm at with him, because I was recently on a podcast not too long ago, and a guy asked me the same question. Well, where do you see? Where is this the year? They had the last 2 years, 3 years. I think people have. Is this the year? And I still don't know if this is the year.
Yeah.
You feel like everything's there, right? Like they're winning games, but then they're losing games that they should have been winning. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Good example was going back a month or whatever, Arizona, right?
Oh,
that winning streak that they had, and then they fucking blow it to Arizona.
Yeah.
The team that like going in, I was like, yeah, they're gonna beat these guys. They blow it. Then they go and playing some more difficult teams. Like, yeah, this might be a tough one. And then they freaking blow people out.
Yeah, like Tampa Bay. When they played Tampa Bay after a 10-day break, they come in and they're like, oh, no, this is whatever.
It's been such a roller coaster, like last game was Boston. I'm not saying Boston's a shitty team or anything. They're up there, right? They're not like
they're in the
bottom.
mix for sure. Yeah, I think they're in a wild card spot right now.
But I really thought they're going to win. I really didn't think. I thought it was going to be one of those close games. Your 3-2s, always maybe an overtime. That's another thing. All these freaking overtime games. I don't know if anyone's counted, but like, how many overtime games have we won?
Well, and that's a big thing for me is that the overtime games, because like the last few years we've been shit in the overtime, which like is almost an oxymoron. I mean, more ice for some of the like truly best skating forwards and defensemen, and we can't win a game in overtime. That's one thing that I've been super impressed about that I haven't seen in a lot of these Avs teams.
Well, that's huge right now because last 2 years the Avs have been knocked out in overtime. Okay, yeah. So again, to kind of bring it back to like, this is our year, this is our year, this is our year. If we're getting knocked out in the overtime, and we know that we're doing now that this is not just something we're getting way better at. Well, hey, maybe this could be the year because we fixed that factor. But also, you have to also look at how often the Avs have had this injury bug. And I don't think they've had that this year either, which is, I think, a big plus.
I mean, I think the worst part of our injury bug was at the beginning of the year, which, I mean, for karma's sake, let's hope it doesn't come back around in the playoffs. But, I want to try to keep that out of my mind. But, I mean, we've been playing really good with the injuries as well. I mean, it's always that next man up mentality that I don't think we had in past years as well. So it's an interesting situation. I mean, I mean, even I think the weakest part in my mind that the Avalanche really were battling with was the goaltending, and that's even looking even better. More. I mean, 15-1-2 is Darcy Kemper since I think our last actual regulation win before these last couple. I mean, he's turned it on, and I mean, don't get me wrong, he still does let in the one or two, Swiss cheese kind of goal. But I mean, listen, this is definitely a different time. It's got a different feel to the team, and I mean, I hate winning the President's Trophy, but I mean, listen, if we do, and as long as we can keep the team together, keep winning in overtime, it's not. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
No, 100%. And I also want to give a lot of credit to the guys also in front of the net, too. He's had a lot of great defensive play in front of him. Darcy Kemper has.
Except for Ryan Murray. Oh, God,
Yeah.
he could probably just...
Cough. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a big part of it. I think a lot of times, we're watching the best team in NHL play, but we still have time to sit here and go, what is up with this team? Like, what's up with this goalie? But really, I think the same goes for hockey and any sport. A lot of the times the defense wins championships, and I think right now we have a great defensive core that's helping Darcy out, and the whole team around it. So you can't not ignore that at all.
And listen, I mean, like the trade deadline's still right around the corner. You never know. I mean, Joe's been. Everybody's been talking about how Joe's going to be pulling some big name here. I mean, Giroux's been in the mix. I mean, now they're talking about maybe a.
Do we need him though?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think so?
I mean, to add a Giroux to the lineup that we've already got, holy moly! I mean, listen, but I mean, Giroux and what they're asking for right now,
Josti,
Tyson Jost and Sampo Ranta, maybe a 23 first round pick. I mean, I'm taking that all day long. I mean, Giroux could kill penalties. He could be on the PP. He's an incredible face-off guy. Can get gritty when you need to. That's the kind of guy you need in the playoffs, especially if we have like another a catastrophe.
Yeah.
Am I making that word up right? Catastrophe. Another Kadri suspension. But I mean, listen, I'm gonna if I have a chance to pull in a Giroux, I'm gonna take him pretty much every single time.
That would be a huge help to have Giroux. But again, the conversation of this being our year. One other thing I really noticed about the Avalanche is the toughness, the grittiness, being able to hold their own. And if someone hits you, the Avalanche, they will punch them right back in the mouth, literally.
Well, Mark Mosher said it best, actually. When this team is getting pushed on, they push back this year.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I feel a little differently about it. I for the most part, I think could we use some more help maybe on the ice itself? Yeah, probably. Maybe a Giroux would be a nice addition, right? How much money is that going to be? That's you kind of mentioned that.
Well, yeah. There's a big thing about it, and I mean Nick from the Nick, he keeps telling me it's going to happen, and the Flyers are going to have to retain salary, but they're going to do it. So keep listening to Nick.
I still I don't know if it's just. Again, me being the goalie and whatever, but I think we need more help back of the net. I get it. Kemper's been pretty hot. Francouz has been pretty hot, but I don't think they're playoff caliber goalies, unfortunately. I think back in the net is where we need more help than out on the ice itself.
Well, I know.
So that's my opinion again, I take it for what it is. I think we need to focus more on the goalie side than on the ice itself.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm sort of in that boat still with you. And I mean, there's even been rumor about Joe shopping Marc-Andre Fleury or Jonas Korpisalo from Columbus.
So call me crazy, man. I'm a big Corpy fan. I know he's dealing with some injuries right now, but I think Corpy would be very good with the Avs. He's a great freaking goalie.
Oh, I mean,
he's a good goalie. He's had some shit games in Columbus, but look at that freaking team.
Well, I mean,
they have zero defense. I can't remember, what was it, the Canes or whatever they played? I don't know, a month or two ago, whenever it was. Merzlikins was in net that game, but he had like 62 shots on net.
Yeah. Well, you can't
it was like
really win
a 6-2 loss or whatever it was, but it's like 62 shots on net in the NHL. Like, are we talking beer league here? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, seriously.
Like, that's insane, man.
Yeah.
So you can't blame the goaltenders there, like the morale's down in that team if, like, I don't care what they show on social media, them handing out a fucking hat and they're all clapping and being happy, but like the morale's down. Corpy's been struggling there. He's kind of getting pushed out a little bit. I don't think he's happy.
No,
so
for sure.
You get a player out of a shitty situation, and I think he would be good. I think he'd be really good in the Avs organization. I really do.
Well, yeah. Listen, it's that age-old adage, like a change of scenery can do wonders for a player, no matter what. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing little Corpy in an Avs burgundy and blue. So, it's something to keep in mind. So before we wrap this up, let's just like I know we wanted to talk about the Olympics. We haven't got a chance. Like I mean, Finland bringing home their first national gold. That's huge.
Yeah, that's they're making some history, man. They got their first gold. That's all, not their first gold. I should rephrase that.
First Olympic
gold, I
Yeah.
should say. Yeah. So that's huge for them. Congratulations.
Yeah, absolute.
One thing I kind of throw this out real quick on the Olympic side. You know, what were your guys' maybe like biggest surprises and sort of like a disappointment?
Well, for me, it was how big that parade was for Finland when they got back home.
Oh, dude, yeah, Helsinki was
was-
probably just like lit on fire.
That was one of the coolest things. But for us, we kind of had some little, we thought that, Team USA for the women's and men's looked really good. We had a conversation about it, and just to see that at the end of the day, Team USA, both teams just eliminated from gold contention. But with the women's, at least they made it to the gold medal round.
Yeah,
That's the plus.
true
But
that.
just to see the men's, that was, that it was great hockey. And for me, the biggest surprise was seeing the Russians change it to the Russian Hockey Committee.
Oh, that's from
was,
that like doping scam. That's like a
that's been
punishment.
thing. Yeah, that's going on for the next few years. Yeah.
And by the way, yesterday was the anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. Just want
Oh,
to
just
out there.
throw that in there. I think my biggest surprise was this was Denmark's first actual Olympics for ice hockey for the men's
awesome.
and women's,
Sorry,
which is crazy to me because I mean obviously they're a Scandinavian country. I mean full on winter sports addicts, and this was the first time that they ever played hockey in the Olympics, it was just nuts to me. And I mean, kudos to them for winning, like, for both the men's and the women's winning their first official, Olympic Games. So that's what was crazy to me because I mean, you've seen plenty of Danes in the NHL, and hockey is pretty big part in pretty much any part of that part of Europe. So that's what blew my mind mostly was Denmark's first Olympics for hockey.
Yeah, for me, my biggest surprise was Slovakia, in my opinion. Slovakia was my number one, and I was actually going to touch on Denmark too a little bit. How cool it was to see those guys kind of do very well actually and play very good, and Denmark hockey. And so let's since we're in Denmark, let's talk a little bit about Denmark. Cool thing about Denmark is like their hockey in general in Denmark has grown so much over the last couple of years.
Oh, totally.
Something that wasn't like the most popular sport there is actually up there right now, and they're striving. If I'm not mistaken, even right now, I think there's about 6-7 NHLers now from Denmark.
Yeah,
Which never used to be a thing. You were lucky to get one or two or whatever, Sort of like Latvia, You don't get a lot of Latvia guys in the NHL, and when you do, it's like an exciting thing.
Oh, for
so
sure.
For Denmark, like that's huge, and they did very well, and props to those guys. But yeah, my number one surprise was Slovakia. Holy moly, man. Those guys never expected them to fight for medals, and they got bronze. And that's like huge.
Yeah, that is
That
significant.
is so big for that country. You guys have no idea. So you think Finland was celebrating? I can't imagine what Slovakia looked like when they came with those bronze medals.
Oh, absolutely. And what's cool about that too is that they didn't lose to get their medal; they won to get their medal. So that's huge for them. And I mean, yeah, Slovakia. I mean, there's hardly a time where I think. When even going into the World Juniors or World Championships, Slovakia is going to be in the mix. Absolutely, you kind of more think of it down by Slovenia or Germany or whoever the mix and match team that just got into it would be. So yeah, I mean, huge for Slovakia. Who's you were talking about the young kid?
Those guys, they have a stud, Yuri Slavkovsky, if I'm not mistaken, 17-year-old kid. He ended up the Olympics as being the top scorer, if I'm not mistaken. All in all, I think altogether he scored 7 goals throughout how many games they played. Most goals out of anyone from all the teams that competed. 17-year-old kid still wore a fucking cage, throughout the game. Kid has braces. He's just phenomenal kid. He was so good, so freaking good. He just opened a huge platform for himself, right? You know what he did. I will not be surprised if he gets drafted this upcoming NHL draft.
Yeah, Connor McDavid. Who did he do that in the Olympics? No, you
This
didn't.
kid
Connor.
came from playing Dungeons and Dragons to the Olympic team. So
See, that's insane. I mean, still has braces on, still wearing a cage, playing against men. I mean, obviously not the NHL elite, but I mean, yeah, that's huge. I mean, gigantic exposure for him. So yeah, I guarantee you that kid just hopped up a few points in the NHL draft.
no, they should be proud of him. He has a bright future, obviously. So
Yeah, it was super cool to see. Biggest disappointment in the Olympics.
Oh
Hockey.
man,
We're talking hockey. I don't want to hear about bobsled or anything.
let's talk about ratings. Let's talk about ratings. Just kidding. No, I mean, yeah, just in hockey, you know, just I kind of said earlier, but Team USA came out looking so hot. They were looking on fire, and there it is. Prediction's gone, and they're out of the medal round. So it was just surprising to me because both teams for a minute when we're doing so well.
Yeah, I think the biggest disappointment for me, it's got to be Sweden. They just the team just didn't look good. I'm like, I mean, for what I watched, I mean, blowing that late game lead to Finland. I mean, it just didn't come together for him. So I was really disappointed about that.
It just sucks drinking this Team USA hockey beer right now. Right here.
Yeah, shout out to Labatt Blue, man. Like, I assume these were sent out for Olympics specifically, but they got a Canadian beer, but they got a little, USA hockey logo, and
That's almost like heresy.
it's kind of cool. It's almost like a little collector's, So, like, yeah, I mean, they got me, man. That was the only reason why I bought the thing, because I was like, shit, it looks cool.
You're a slut for.
You get me with a good advertising, and I'm a sucker for it. So here's your proof that marketing works, man.
Well, so what was your greatest disappointment there, Keats?
I mean, you guys are gonna guess it. I mean, number one, Team
Pretty
Latvia,
obvious,
dude.
yeah.
Holy shit. Going in, I knew we're not gonna fight for medals. Like, I mean, that was clear, and it wasn't anything like that. I wasn't hoping, that they're gonna come with any sort of hardware. But what Latvians are known for being hard workers, and you're kind of like, how would I describe it? Like, you're blue collar, sort of.
Oh yeah, just workman like.
They're not gonna be the greatest team, but they're gonna like play until those guys are puking and
bleeding from their ears.
But it wasn't that this Olympics, man. They were sloppy, kind of just like, it almost seemed like they didn't want to be there in a sense. They got outshot. It wasn't even fun to watch. I mean, I followed most, and last game that I didn't see was, and honestly, not that I was like, this is it, I'm not watching anymore, but I think their last game was against Denmark, in fact, which we always beat Denmark. Sorry, Denmark. And we got blown out. It wasn't blown out. It was like a 3-2 game. But regardless, didn't win a single game. They were sloppy. The coaching sucked, in my opinion. I was really rooting for Bob Hartley to still finish the Olympics. And I think that originally that was the thought, that Bob Hartley will finish his contract with Team Latvia throughout the Olympics, but I don't know if the KHL got in the way with that or what was the case. They ended up hiring this guy by the name of Haris Vitolinš, which he's kind of like a Latvia legend. He played for the team, but he's just, I don't know. He's not coaching material to me. I can respect him as a player back in the day, but I don't think he was the right pick for being the coach of the national team. And I don't know. They just kind of fell apart, man. And one thing, too, I think what hurt us in the end was, everyone was hoping for their NHL players. And Team Latvia, is one of those teams, in my opinion, that really strive when they got their Zengmas Gigernsons and their Rismers Leakins and Teddy Bluger and, all those guys on the stands. It's like, all right, we we got a pretty decent team, and Rudolph Balcers, all those guys, but they're with everything, but with the COVID situation and whatnot, the NHL kind of hexstat, and anyways, I feel like if those guys would have been there, it would have been a whole different story for Team Latvia. Maybe we would have been the Slovakia team right now with a bronze or something. But
Totally. Well, we have 4 more years to see what happens here, boys.
Well, boys, I think that was a pretty good first stick and puck, eh?
Geez, the Zamboni doors are opening already?
Yeah, the stick and pucks, they don't last too long. You got to shoot around for as long as you can. Well, yeah, so you want to just shoot out your socials on BTP real quick?
Yeah, nothing much going on. Yeah, Between the Pipes podcast, guys. Add Between the Pipes podcast Instagram if you guys want to check me out, whatever. Do it. If not, I don't care. I just do it for fun. It's a little hobby. But yeah, guys, this was like a quick little, episode we did. We're hoping to do this once a month. The goal is right now, kind of few buddies catching up, rather be through Zoom or live like we're doing it right now. But yeah, this was fun, and we'll just be chit chatting, whatnot, and yeah. Do you guys have anything to add?
Thanks for coming out, bro. It's always good to see you. Just keep doing
absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's cool to be back in the old stomping grounds, where it all kind of started. So.
Well, we miss you on the bench. Have you been playing too much?
Working. I wish I played more, man. I only do like once a week if I'm lucky these days. So.
Other way. Well, yeah. And then check out On the Bench with Beaks on Facebook, Instagram. Check us both out on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, some other miscellaneous podcasts that I really choose to not do right now. So
I think I'm on all of those as well.
Yeah. Well. So yeah. Thanks. Thank you guys for joining us for our first Stick and Puck.
All right. Till next time.
Yeah, boys. See you guys later.
Peace. See you later.